So thank you. Welcome. Welcome. This is a little lunch and learn about Pinecrest Academy of Northern Nevada. Our school opened in 2020, so we're in our 5th year of operation this year. We are a tuition-free public charter school. That means it doesn't cost anything to attend our school. And we'll talk a little bit about the lottery process applying and how you can get into our school. This year and next year, we're serving grades kindergarten through grade 8. And we'll talk about programming. We'll talk about our staff and curriculum, some of our programs, a little bit about our history, and then answer questions along the way. So let's get started. In case you aren't familiar, our mascot is the ram. So this is our athletic crest, if you ever see our little mascot around town. All right, so just to share a little bit about our school, what makes our school unique. We have a very collaborative culture. We have a local governing board that just governs our school, and it's comprised of community members, both here and also a remote member from one of our Pinecrest sister schools in Las Vegas. We collaborate very heavily between our students, our parents, our school staff, and other community members as well. We also collaborate with our Pinecrest sister schools around the country, and we do so pretty regularly. We're all part of the Pinecrest Inc. network of public charter schools that were originated in Florida in the year 2000. So as a system, we're going on our 25th year this year. A woman named Judy Marty is the founder of the Pinecrest system, along with some of the other Florida-based charter systems that you may or may not have heard of, including Somerset, Matter, Doral, and Slam. So we're all kind of sister networks, a little bit different in some ways, but a lot of similarities, and all based in some of those founding charter principles that Judy put forth in Florida over 25 years ago. We're very student-centered in what we do every day. Students are at the core of our mission and vision, and you'll see that embedded as I talk through curriculum and some of the other pieces. We work very hard to provide a safe, positive, and caring learning environment for our students. We have a student support services team and many layers of student support where, for example, our students are greeted directly by adults when they walk into the building. Our students are greeted at their classrooms. We know our students' names. We know what their interests are. We work very hard to know them in order to create that positive culture. And we're also focused on continuous student growth. So we use data to drive not just our instructional practices, but our behavioral practices, our response to campus processes, parent engagement, student engagement, and all of those things. And we're always the core focused on how we can help our students grow and create the best possible outcomes for our students. One thing to be mindful of is that instruction at Pinecrest Academy of Northern Nevada is rigorous and meaningful. And so that being said, our students are expected to work pretty hard at school. And then there's also an expectation of some work at home that takes place in between. So that being said, just kind of something to keep in mind, we have the iReady platform and ST Math in the K through 5th grades, along with some STEAM projects that students do to engage with their families, and reading. So parents tend to choose our school because they are looking for a rigorous college preparatory program for their students, and they are on board and supportive of that more rigorous environment. Our staff engage in professional learning. Unlike the district where there are early release Wednesdays for professional learning, we choose to spend either one full day or one half day every month engaging in professional learning on a variety of topics in response to our student achievement and student growth. And then if you aren't familiar, our school is a STEAM-focused school. So that STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. And 100% of our students take those elective courses throughout the course of the year. And there are 24 Pinecrest locations across the nation, in case you weren't familiar. Idaho, there's actually 2, a second location just opened recently in Idaho, 7 in Nevada, and 17 in Florida. And we collaborate, as I mentioned, at the school level, at the state level, and across state. So we work together frequently on all of these things. To give you a little bit of information on the numbers, we are fully enrolled with 1,036 students in grades K through 8. We have 104 staff members serving our students, and 100% of our students participate in STEAM. So even in middle school, students are required to take one of those STEAM electives. Okay. Just to give a little background on what is a charter school. So we are a free school. We're funded by the state. We're funded based on our student enrollment. We're held accountable to all of the same academic and reporting standards as other public districts are. And we're governed by our independent board. And the board is involved in monitoring progress, managing the budget, putting student achievement measures in place, and then ensuring that our school meets all of the financial and academic requirements that are set forth by the state of Nevada. Charter schools give families like you a choice in your child's education. So yours, depending on where you reside, your student is zoned to attend a public school. Our school is a school of choice. So we have students that come from not just all over Washoe County, but also surrounding counties. We have students in some cases that drive over an hour to get here every day. And that's part of what it means to be a school of choice. Our school, as a school of choice, we have autonomy over our curriculum, budget, things like that. We can be very responsive to the needs of our students and the needs of our community. And that's one reason I love serving at a charter school. I love being able to just look at what's working for our kids, what we need to change, what we need to continue, and working within those parameters and being very agile. We do have class size maximums. Actually, this year in K and 1, we've kept our classes at 25. And second through fourth grade, they're capped at 27. Fifth grade is at 28, and sixth through eighth grade is capped at 33. However, our average class size in sixth through eighth grade is 27 because we have a robust elective schedule that allows our students to select 3 elective classes and thus decreases the number of students in our core classes by about 5 or 6. Enrollment at Pinecrest is based on an application and lottery. And so the application is available right now on our website. Even if you've applied for the 24-25 school year, you do have to reapply for the 25-26 school year. And we're taking applications through February 28th, and then we'll validate applications and run the lottery on March 3rd. If your student, whether you get a seat or a wait list number, you'll get an email indicating that we ran the lottery, and then your student either has a seat, in which case you'll proceed to the enrollment documents, or you'll have information that your student was on the wait list with a link to check the status update of the wait list. Just a little overview of the administrative team. So of course, I'm the principal. We have 1 assistant principal, Mr. Schaup, and then an instructional coach who also serves as our ELL and 504 coordinator, Sunday Iyer, who's been with us since we opened. And we have also a very robust leadership team. So beyond student services and campus support, we have 2 of these staff members, the Director of Student Life and Director of Student Behavior, who are board certified behavior analysts. We work very heavily in the realm of setting our students up for success and being proactive in addressing behaviors and teaching expectations both for campus and beyond campus in the community. All right. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat box real quick. And then continuing on about the leadership team, we have a special education instructional facilitator. So if your student receives special education services through an individualized education plan or an IEP, all of those services in that plan would transfer over to Pinecrest. We, as a public school, we provide all of the same services that they would have received at their previous school if they had a public school with an IEP. In most cases, if a student transfers with an IEP, we'll have a sort of meet and greet or welcome meeting where we go over the student's goals and plan and what's been in place. And we try to become a little bit more familiar with the student's specific needs, and then talk about what those supports and services look like at Pinecrest, introduce staff and the special education staff, and generally just make sure everybody's on the same page and feeling comfortable with the school setting placement change. We also have reading intervention for middle school and elementary school. So these are students who need a little bit more support with literacy. We also offer, just looking at our school leadership cohort here, some of the teachers, we also offer the gifted and talented program in second grade through eighth grade. So students get 150 minutes of instruction every week if they've been identified and are participating in that program as well. And then Donna Bowen is our elementary STEAM teacher. So all of our students in K through 4 get to spend time in the STEAM lab with exploratory hands-on activities. I think a lot of students say that's their favorite, their favorite space. It's very engaging, very interactive. If you follow our Facebook or Instagram, you might have seen some of those videos. A lot of that comes out of Donna's space, so she's very creative. This is just an overview of our PANN board members, board of directors. So a couple of them are parents. Steve Albrecht is vice president at Pinecrest Lone Canyon. We collaborate very heavily, and the team is just a wonderful governing board that meets bi-monthly to review all things about the school and all of the governance decision making. And we have a very unique approach to equity and inclusion. We have a strategic partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. This allows us to provide the National School Lunch Program for free breakfast and free lunch for the students who qualify for it. And that's about 20 to 25% of our students who are able to utilize that. Families can also purchase breakfast or lunch as part of that partnership. We also have strategic transportation that we offer both internally and through Boys and Girls Club to ensure our students can get to school and in some cases in the afternoon are transferred back to the Boys and Girls Club so that parents who need that extended day have access to that as well to make it feasible for their students to attend. In addition, we have a weighted lottery and we offer priority enrollment as in a 5 times weight for students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And then for students who were ever participants in the Reno Sparks Indian Colony Head Start, students get priority enrollment, which means they, in alignment with our staff and board members and siblings, get priority enrollment. And there's a little box on the application that must be checked so that we can identify students who qualify for either of those enrollments. All right, so just to go a little bit into our curriculum, all of our curriculum is utilized in the classroom, but also available online. We have a couple of different platforms, and they're all through an integrated application called Clever to make it easy to access and gain sign on to all of those platforms. But in kindergarten through eighth grade, we utilize a program called the American Reading Company. And in just a second, I'll show you the slides with the thematic units of study. So the what we call ARC curriculum is aligned with best practices in literacy in alignment with the science of reading. And we work very heavily to ensure that our students have foundational literacy skills and are successful as they promote to the next grade and increase their reading comprehension and vocabulary and related literacy skills. We also use the iReady program for math and reading. Our students are required to complete 2 lessons in math and reading every week. And we use the extension math curriculum, which is called Ready Math, in grades K through 8. And that's the core classroom math that we use across campus. And this year they've added the algebra curriculum. So for our students in 8th grade who are in that accelerated track, we use the Ready Math algebra curriculum as well. And then for our science curriculum, we utilize the product from Rice University research called STEM Scopes. And all of our students have access both to the classroom resources and online resources, which include a plethora of vocabulary indexes, engaging videos, So many cool interactive and exploratory tools, and they utilize that curriculum in the STEAM lab, but also in the classroom. And then there's a component that is a math differentiated piece as well. So it's very fun and engaging for the kids. We've got great feedback on that one. I'm gonna go to the next slide. We'll go over these units and then I'll pause and look at the chat for some questions. Our approach to literacy is such that each of our students in K through 5 complete a different unit of study each quarter. And these units of study are specific to help students build knowledge and enhance their core literacy skills. So you can see here in Unit 1, which is the first quarter of the year, all of our students participate in a literacy lab, and this is where they build expectations for literacy in the classroom. They start to work on their reading stamina. We do some assessments one-on-one to make sure we have a really good understanding of the student's reading level and what the student needs to work on specifically to increase their literacy trajectory. And then our students go in quarter 2 into a unit of study. So in kindergarten, you can kind of see this here, they go into a study of zoology. In first grade, they go into those wild and endangered animals. In second grade, bugs and their ecosystems. Third grade, weather and climate. Fourth grade, animal adaptations. And fifth grade, ecosystems. And I'm highlighting Unit 2 in particular because if you follow our social media, you would have seen that we just did a parent showcase night where the students presented their culminating research for Unit 2. And we invite all the parents to come in, and parents get to see the work that the students have put together in terms of their unit summary writing, and the students also learn to present. And so, for example, second grade just did their bugs in their ecosystem unit, and the students did independent research on bugs, put the research together, presented it, and were able to share that information with all of the adults that came for the exhibition night. So it's aligned with our goal not only of increasing students' literacy skills, but also preparing them to be able to present materials, put everything together very systematically, but then also have the confidence to present and share their learning with others, which is the ultimate goal in terms of lifelong skills. And then our students in Unit 3, you can see here, transition to a different units of study depending on the grade level, everything from ecology to school stories, animal stories, traditional tales. Going into fourth grade, they study American historical fiction, and then fifth grade studies the Civil War era. And then Unit 4, there's culminating units in entomology, plants. Second grade is jobs and the community. Third grade goes into marine life. Fourth grade does a unit of study on the states, and fifth grade does an adventure study. So it's all very structured. Each grade, each classroom has a set of fiction and nonfiction books that are aligned with each unit of study and appropriate to each student's reading ability so that they can do research independently and then write about that research independently as well. And then I'm going to pause for just a second and pull up this chat so I can see. Thank you, Alexis, on the PowerPoint. We'll check that on the numbers of the location.
Oh.
I think we didn't include the new school in Idaho on that, so we'll get that fixed. Adriana asked how many students there are in each classroom. So I talked about that. I think that might have, let's see. Clark Elementary is next to middle school. So our school is in one building. So the K through 8 is all in one campus right now. So they are kind of separate wings of the building and different stairwells and things like that. But we do a lot of K through 8 collaboration. We have an event once a month, for example, where we get students from each grade level together with an adult leader, and we do a community support activity. For example, we made some cards to take down to the senior center, take to the veterans and things like that. So we do a lot of helping our older students harness their leadership capacity with younger students and building those mentorships. There's also a question if there's any reason we would not accept a student or what do students have to do in order to be selected. So when we run that lottery, it's a completely blind lottery. I have no say in it. It's run by a third party. And so students have their name is drawn in the lottery, and that's how they get a seat. The only time a student would not be accepted is if they do not reside in Nevada. If you, we have had this happen. We had a family that lived in Truckee, and because we're state funded and we're public school, we're funded by Nevada state dollars, and so you have to reside in Nevada. It should flag when you fill out the application if you say that you reside in California, but in some cases there can be a household that splits residence between Nevada and California. Any specific questions like that, you can reach out to our registrar. In order to be selected, again, it's through a lottery process, or being a sibling of a currently enrolled student, board member, staff member's child, or fall into another priority category. Yes, our board meetings are public meetings, and they are noticed on our website, and in our lobby, and on the state public charter school website. And yep, those are bi-monthly, and they are open to all. How many classrooms or classes do we have in each grade? So kinder through 5th grade, we have 4 classes in each grade. 5th grade is a little bit different because it's departmentalized, which means it's a year for us to help get students prepared a little bit for middle school while still giving them kind of a soft transition. So we have one teacher that teaches ELA, one that teaches math, one that teaches science, and one that teaches social studies. And the students rotate as a homeroom class on a little schedule through each of those teachers so that they receive the content instruction throughout the day, but with teachers who are specialized in the content area. K through 4 have a homeroom teacher who does their core content instruction, but they also work as a team to do Power Hour, which we'll talk about in a minute, where students might have access to a different teacher for differentiated instruction. We also, in middle school, have currently 5 classes essentially per grade level. So 5 different groups of kids in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And they're not all in the same classes all together. So they're mixed up depending on their schedule and their elective choices. Monica is asking if we schedule school tours. And so if after we run the lottery, once students accept a seat, then, and that's why Ricky's here. Ricky's our school relations manager, and she is the one that you can contact to schedule a school tour. Absolutely. After you have a seat and you've been accepted and registered, we want you to come in while school's in session so you can see what's going on in the classrooms, what's going on, like what does the student work look like in the hallway, all of those things. Yeah. So once the lottery is run and you have a seat and everything, you'll reach out to Ricky, get that scheduled. And families really like doing that.
Yeah, great.
Rick, you'll go over some of those things like uniforms and
all the things that we have going on all the time.
All the things.
All the fun things.
Ross is asking about before and after care. We do have the before and after care with the Boys and Girls Club. They're open at 7 a.m. and they're here till 6 p.m. I think I read that there is no aftercare on the early out days. So Boys and Girls Club this year has provided aftercare, but at the 9th Street site. So what they do is they bring the shuttle out here and they pick up students here and take them down to 9th Street for families who need care. And then families can pick up students from the 9th Street location.
We're really fortunate that we do have a lot of different after school activities and before school things. Like we have sibling care that you can set up if you have an elementary school student and a middle school student. Middle school starts earlier than elementary, so you could still drop them off at the same time, that middle school, and then they could be signed up for sibling care. And so that 45 minutes until elementary starts, they'll go into a grade level classroom that they're in, and they'll be in there until school starts. And then the same thing for after school. So your middle schooler will go into sibling care after school until your elementary school child gets out. We also offer the Boys and Girls Club and Reach, and we have Rams Academy classes that are specialized classes for students that you can sign them up for it's an additional cost, but you can sign them up for different specialized activities. We do like cheer, and they have Lego classes and fun stuff like that the kids can do from 4 to 5.
Lots of options.
Yeah.
But I don't want to overwhelm you, but just know there are lots of options, lots of kind of whatever fits your family's needs and style and frequency. We do not offer winter programs right now. The Boys and Girls Club, however, does offer site programming during the breaks. Summer, the last 2 years, we were fortunate to receive ESSER funds for um, summer programming for students. This year, we'll be running summer programming, but it will not be grant funded at this point unless we hear otherwise. And Boys and Girls Club offers on-site programming on our campus over the summer for Pinecrest students only. So there's lots of options over the summer. They run field trips every single day. And it's that same time frame of 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So Adriana, is it true that we don't accept students who have an IEP? And then there's some things related to that question. So I did talk about this, but just to reiterate, we absolutely do accept students with an IEP. In fact, we don't even ask the student's status in special education until after the enrollment lottery is run and students are admitted. We have an amazing team of special education teachers, facilitators, and related service providers who are just phenomenal. We offer, depending on student needs, everything from speech and language services to physical therapy, occupational therapy, hearing services, vision services. Yeah, everything that students need that would be related to their school-based needs in an IEP, we offer all of those things. Let's see. And yes, we have students in all different categories of needs. We have, yeah, everything from autism spectrum to severe and profound to high needs to speech only. We have just kind of any student need we meet. And then for the REACH program, the REACH is specifically for the parents who need a structured place for their students to do homework and have some additional like quiet study space. They sometimes will do some activities and things like that, but REACH is more specifically like extra time for them to get work done. But Rams Academy, like Ricky was talking about, are based on different themes and interests, and we offer typically anywhere from 40 to 60 classes depending on what the instructors have. Everything, yeah, dance, archery, like there's so many of those. Anne asked how many slots are available for second grade. So we have 108 seats. We have a very high rate of retaining students. So we typically will have only a couple of seats available except for our entry years. So kindergarten, for example, is an entry year. We take 100 new students in kindergarten. And then sixth grade is another entry year because we increased from 108 to 133. And in between, we'll have usually anywhere from 0 openings to, we can have 6 or 8 openings if there's really been a lot of movement. But typically there's not a ton of seats in the grades in between. However, those seats do have to get filled. So you never know. You can get in an in-between grade as well sometimes. All right, so I'm gonna go back over here and we'll keep an eye on that chat. So we'll kind of keep going through some of this. Are we at 1 right now? Okay, so yeah, well, just to continue on the academics and curriculum, all of our students in K through 5 take a specials class that rotate on an ABCD rotation. So all of our students take music, art, PE, Spanish, and they get to go in the STEAM lab. They also take media and library. So they are busy and they're getting to pursue many different kinds of interests, and they all have their favorites. So we work really to make sure that they also have fun and they're learning new skills while they're at school. These are just some of our platforms that we utilize, our different curriculum platforms that are also online and available to our students through Clever. And just a little photo, we can kind of end on this one with our special classes. Just a little glimpse into what we get to do in those spaces. Ashley also asked, has there been any word about the school extending into a high school? So yes, at our last board meeting, which was a week ago Friday, the board is planning to move forward with the expansion request from the Charter Authority. They are right now trying to get the budget lined out. And so they had tasked our managing partner with coming up with some financial scenarios that would make the project feasible in the timeline and with the resources that we currently have. So that should be updated. We should have an update meeting in February once all that's available. And they had outlined that the intent to apply timeline is March 1st, pending everything goes through. So yes, that's also geared as a stagger in expansion. So it wouldn't open with a 9-12, it would open just with ninth grade. And then every year add another grade until we had 9th through 12th grade. Yes, you're welcome. Then Edna asked a question. If the students are reading and doing math at a higher level than their grade level, how do we get that more challenging learning content to the student? Great question. So in K through 5, we use a model called Power Hour. And Power Hour is differentiated instruction, whether students need some scaffolded support because they're not quite on grade level, or students need extension because they're on or above grade level. We use our student assessment data and teacher observation data to put the students into learning cohorts that we call Power Hour. So during 2 different specific times of the day, students will rotate either for reading or math Power Hour, in which case they receive differentiated instruction from one of the 4 teachers in the grade level. So it may not be the student's homeroom teacher who is teaching their differentiated content. Depending on where the student is, they may be working with a different teacher in the grade level for some extension or some extra support. And they do that every day for 40 minutes for math and 40 minutes for reading on top of their core content curriculum. So it's really at the student's level what they need. Oftentimes they'll do some pre-assessment to see if they need to pre-teach some skills so that the students can be ready for learning the next week. They're very dialed in, and we speak twice a month. We spend PLCs with the teachers to go over all of the student data and to make sure the students are placed and they have all the resources in place for them.
There was a question a little bit further up. How much time is spent on electronics in the classroom? There seems to be quite a few apps being used.
There are quite a few apps being used. However, what you'll notice is that it depends on where they are in a stage of inquiry. So if they're doing a research unit on bugs, for example, most of the resources, in fact, all of our literacy resources are in actual paper books that are in the classrooms. However, we do have students who will want to oh, I want to do a little bit more research on that. And so we have some educational platforms that they can use apart from that. We really encourage parents for iReady and ST Math to do that work at home as much as possible. However, the students, if they can start coming in at 8:40 in the morning, and the teachers will give them some time between 8:40 and 9 o'clock to work on their iReady and ST Math if they need time to do it. But for core content instruction, the students aren't typically on their devices. The students are on devices if they're in Power Hour as maybe one of their center rotations or one of the time blocks during Power Hours so that they can work on something very specific to their learning pathway.
Middle
That's
school is a
really
little
good
different than
question.
elementary. Middle school
Yeah, middle
utilizes
school.
more,
Yeah, especially if you're like in
technology.
digital media class or yearbook. Yeah, you're
or any
gonna
of
be
like our STEAM classes. We have a Lego robotics class, and they do a lot of 3D stuff, design stuff, and it's all on the computer.
Yeah.
So middle
if
school's a little
they're yeah, and if they're in a specific technology class, absolutely. And then they do utilize the computers for their media class in elementary school, and they do some typing programs. They learn how to use the online resources and platforms and things like that. And then depending on what the students' needs are, they may utilize the computer more or less. But they aren't on it, they are not on them very much. They're not on them, and especially in K through 5.
Yeah, no, my kinder's excited when he does get to use it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And then just to follow up on that, we also use a student internet access monitoring platform called Securely. So when students are on computers in the classroom, the teacher has a monitoring screen and can track everything that the students do. And we track that both at the teacher classroom level and at the administrative level. So we can see what students accessed, how long they accessed something. And then of course, if there's any anything they're looking up or searching, we can see all of that in case there's follow-up conversations ever. Um, how much homework does a first year get? And I'm assuming, Ross, is this a first grade student? First grader. So they do, they're expected to do the 4 I-Readies plus the ST math and then read 30 minutes a night. So we ask that they read 30 minutes a night, either independently or with a parent. And then if they rotate through their I-Readies and ST math, they should be doing about 45 minutes a night. And some parents, not 7 nights a week, but
No.
like 4 nights a week. Some parents like to do the work on the weekends. Some like to do things on the night and have the weekends off. And we really work with the families and the students, because if, for example, it's the family, if it's hard to get that reading in, oftentimes we'll pair the student with like a middle school mentor student so that they can come down and have someone to read with to make sure that they're staying on top of their reading and things like that. And again, with those online platforms, what they're designed to have the student grow in the area that the student needs support. And the frequency with which they do those is directly correlated to their growth. So we want them doing that, but also we want them having the balance and all of that. Happen to hear that you're a sister concern of Doral. Monica, let's see. I think, do you mean like a sister school of Doral Academy? So we're a sister school essentially of Doral Academy, as in we're all kind of from Judy Marty's original vision and work in Florida. So all of these different schools like Doral, Pinecrest, Somerset, and Matter are all actually named after different little suburbs of Miami and Florida where they originated. And then they've been replicated with a high level of success across Florida and then across the country. So yes, we are a sister school of Doral. And yes, I was a founding family at Doral and assistant principal at Doral until we opened Pinecrest. And then I've been here since we opened in 2020. Good question. And I'm happy to stay on the line in case there's any other questions, but I just have, a good overview here for everything. And yes, Ross will send out this presentation, and there's a couple more things. As you go through it, you'll see a couple more slides of pictures and some interactive things. So we'll share all of that out with you along with a copy of the recording so you can have access to what we went over for a replay. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time. If you haven't applied, make sure you check out our website for that application for 25-26. And after, just as a heads up, after we run the lottery, this question comes up sometimes. What happens if someone applies after we've run the lottery? And what happens in that case is we would have to exhaust the entire wait list from the original lottery, and then we'd run a second lottery with anyone who's applied after the first lottery window.
Our open enrollment ends February 28th, and I recommend, even if you're not sure and you're on the fence, I recommend just applying. If you end up on the wait list, sometimes we have people that are for kindergarten that are like 27, 28 on the wait list, and they still end up having their student come into the school. Sometimes families move. One of their children is coming and their other one is actually going to a different school, so they don't want to have both kids at different schools. But I would still apply just to have that option. Because if you miss the cutoff, then like you're at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll hang out for just another minute. Otherwise, I appreciate your time joining us today, and thank you for considering Pinecrest Academy of Northern Nevada for your students' education.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.